Well, we should move on with some other stories now. Safety experts are warning of more fuel-related tragedies following a tanker yard fire outbreak at a Ashaiman timber market yesterday. 3 people sustained various degrees of injuries in yesterday's tanker yard fire incident, whilst property worth thousands of Ghana cedis were destroyed. Now, some victims of receiving treatment at the Tema General Hospital and the New Crystal Hospital at Ashaiman. Officials of the National Petroleum Authority visited the victims this morning to commiserate with them. The acting chief executive officer of the NPA, Al-Hassan Tampoli, raised concerns about what he describes as inconsistencies in reports being given about the possible causes of the fire outbreak. He spoke to the media when he toured the ravaged tanker yard earlier today. What he's saying is that he's tasking the Ghana National Fire Service to immediately work at unraveling the facts behind the fire outbreak.
No doubt about that. If the cause of the result of the investigation will determine the next course of action that we'll take. We do not want to make any pronouncement at this stage which will be preemptive of the investigative reports. So what we'll do is we'll await the report of the investigations, and then we'll take necessary actions where there's need to do so.
In recent times, we've had a lot of issues regarding gas explosions, involving petrol tankers and all of that. Is the National Petroleum Authority not really concerned about these worrying trend?
It's a very huge concern to us at the NPA, and one of the things that we want to do is to engage the public on safety, health, safety and environmental issues, HSE issues. We need to own the safety agenda. We need to let everybody in the industry across the value chain understand that health, safety and environmental matters are very, very serious to our efforts to sanitize the system. And one of the things that we want to do is to train all key players in the downstream sector. And so we train right from the pump attendants, all the people who work at the retail outlets, security people, the managers at the pumps. Everybody has to get certificates, and it has to be renewed annually in order that we know that everybody has gone through the training that will be organized. In fact, it's a requirement for even renewal of permits for operation. So everybody along the value chain will have to certify it before you can work at a station. And all the necessary safety gadgets that you need to have must be in place before. It's not as if we are not doing that, but we now want to take it to the next level by training, ensuring that we will do the training instead of leaving it with the players themselves. Probably they won't be doing it as much as we want them to do. So we'll own that agenda, and we'll ensure that everybody has to go through that training. So I'm sure you were present when you heard a briefing from the director of operations of the company here, and then some of the things that we have seen on the site. I mean, you see evidence of pumps around. You see suction pipes and all that, which suggested that there's more to the story than we have been told. Okay, so we want the police, like I said, the fire service to do their own investigations and then let us know exactly what the situation is. Well, that adds to the inconsistency as I spoke about. When you lift products from the depot, you take it to the destination, the port where you take where you discharge. So you normally won't take products from a depot and then bring it to your yard. So that's not the case. Now we have been told that one of the trucks developed a fault, and the driver, after lifting the products from the depot, came to the yard here and then said that he was attending a funeral. And so all these things we need to look into them and be sure whether or not the story as it's been told is accurate, because these are health and safety issues. We've just seen the passage of a regulation regarding BRV, bulk road vehicles. Their movement from the depot to the point where they discharge, and then the tracking of those trucks and everything, that is already in place, but a regulation has been promulgated, has been passed, which will give legal effect to all these things, and we intend to go live on it sometime in March. We'll do a public education on that one, and it will add to the control measures that we've put in place in order to ascertain to nip in the bud some of these occurrences. It's been one too many, and I think some immediate action has to be taken, and we are doing that.
But it's a normal practice here in Tema where trucks load and then they say, "Are we going to?"
It's a normal thing here.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you are telling me, so we will investigate all of that. We investigate all of that. Of course, that will be illegal if you take products from the depot and then you come, you say you are going to do calibration. That's not how we do the calibration. Okay, there's a company that does the calibration that has been engaged by the NPA to do all of that, and then to put a tracking device on the trucks and all that. That is controlled by the NPA and not the players themselves. Very well.
Well, Mr. Tampoli, he is the new boss for the NPA. Well, officials of the Ghana National Fire Service say they are still investigating the matter. Prince Billy Anaglate spoke with the media.
It is not safe. It is not safe in the sense that those tankers that we see, they are still containing fuel in it. I keep saying that it is not the liquid petrol or the diesel that burns, but the rich vaporized gas from those things. So the whole area is saturated with gaseous emanating from the fuel. So if you are within the area, if you have your mobile phone, the tendency to spark fire is there. If anybody is smoking around, if any heat source is applied within the area, the tendency of they having fire is very high.
What you're saying, it's a bit scary. So what are you telling people around there?
That is why since yesterday, when we were calling, we got in there, we were able to ensure to prevent people. But people will not listen. They take pleasure in getting close to where the fire situation is. So we are still appealing to the public that they should ensure they don't get to that environment. When we are able to determine and to have everything that will remove any hazard within the premises, we allow them to get in there. But for now, that we are doing everything possible to make the place safe, they should also bear with us and get away from the environment.
Have you, for instance, cordoned off the place?
Yes, we ensure that they lock the two gates that leads to the place, and then we have our people also around there to prevent anybody from entering.
So let's talk about what might have caused this particular incident. As of now, has the fire service been able to say exactly what might have caused this?
I wouldn't say we'll be able to say exactly what might have caused it, but our preliminary investigation might not be too far from what exactly might have caused it. We saw two pumps that they were using. We saw hoses that they were using for siphoning a fuel from one tanker to the other. That might definitely be responsible for what ignited and what might have caused this fire. But of course, we still need to go further to investigate further to determine if exactly that is what we saw.
So you're saying that your preliminary investigation showed that the tube they were using to transfer the fuel...
Yeah, the siphoning we were doing. You know, in such an environment, it was wrong for anybody to do siphoning, where you have about 26 fuel tankers packed in there, so close to each other. You don't have to attempt any siphoning as they were doing. But it is even important for anybody to do siphoning within that area. Then they need to contact fire service, who will give them a fire cover to determine that nothing happened. Even if anything should happen, we will be able to reduce and arrest the situation. But a situation where we were even investigating yesterday that we do not even have any extinguisher position at where they were doing it was really dangerous, was illegal for anybody to do what they were doing yesterday.
Prince Billy Anaglate speaks for the Ghana National Fire Service, speaking to Beatrice Edu earlier on News Desk there. But we'll come back and talk about that particular story. We'll have a discussion with some safety experts who are warning that there could be more similar tragedies in Tema. For now, let's talk about something really interesting, shall we? Well, the hard salted tilapia fish that you like to enjoy alongside your ampesi could be a source of cancer. That is according to Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Frimpong Boateng. He says those who process the dry tilapia fish are using a chemical known as formalin, which is usually used to preserve dead bodies. We'll have a discussion on this in the studio. With me right now is Maria Lovelace Johnson. She's head of Food Safety Management Department at the Food and Drugs Authority. Thank you very much, ma'am, for coming through.
welcome.
Do you like Kobe yourself?
Very much.
Oh, you do?
Very much.
So what's the nutritional value in that?
Well, it's fish. So fish is mainly proteinaceous, and it comes with all the other nutrients.
But if that's the case, then there's tilapia, there's fish without the salt and the
Yeah, but it has a certain flavor. When you add it to your garden egg stew or your kontomire stew, and your palm nut soup and all that.
I see.
Very nice.
Okay, well, let's come and talk about business. Now, I understand that we could possibly be piling up cancerous tissues in our bodies. What does the FDA know about this, and what have you done about it?
Well, some time ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, we had this information from the media. There were several allegations, and we undertook a research and then found out that there was nothing like that.
Okay.
There was nothing like that. After we did some tests to check if there was formalin and
okay. I remember
fish.
that story. I think it had to do with farmers, fishermen
Tuna.
at the London sites or the coastals.
Exactly.
That the whole thing was that I think it was during the Dumso era, and so they were looking for ways of preserving the fish.
Yeah.
So you found that
there was
wasn't
no
true.
formalin in it, no formaldehyde or
Okay.
no formalin in it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this is
And
not
then-
from the media.
This
This is from the minister.
Exactly, yeah. But that time it was from the media,
Okay.
and then we did that test. And now that we've heard this too, we are doing other tests as well. We are doing tests. At the moment, there are people from the Food and Drugs Authority in various markets. They are at La Paz market, Makola, Dansuman, in fact, all the markets you can think of.
Okay.
We are there buying you won't know whether we are from FDA or not.
Okay.
We just buy into Kobe, and then we're taking them to the lab, to the laboratory. As scientists, the only way we can say that yes, they are there or not is to do the test in the laboratory.
Okay.
And it can be done easily. So we're going to do that, and by the end of the week, the lab results will be out, and we'll let you know.
What's the process, the lab test that you're talking about? Usually, what's the process, and how long does it take?
Oh, it's going to take, it won't take that long. By the end of the week, you should have we'll just test for formaldehyde. You know that formalin
That's
is
formalin.
Basically formaldehyde.
Okay.
So we'll be testing for formaldehyde in the laboratory.
And after you've done that, if they are, because you're buying from various places, various markets, so if they are, then what's going to happen? How do you know that this came from that market, this came from that market?
We're going to label whatever we buy. We go to various markets and various points. We buy, we put them in a Ziploc bag, we label and know where it is from. Actually the sellers will not even know what we're going to use the thing for, but then we will know what we're going to use for. So we know what we are going to use it for, so we will take note of where we bought it from. And then when we find out that it is true, we'll get back to them and trace it. But then again, the story actually attributed the dryness of the Kobe to formaldehyde.
Yeah.
But that may not be necessarily so.
Okay.
You know, Kobe is preserved so that it can stay longer. It's just tilapia that is preserved.
Yeah.
And they are using 2 technologies to do the preservation.
Okay.
One is salting, and the other is drying.
Okay.
The drying will reduce the water activity in the Kobe. So, and as soon as the water activity is reduced, the water is not available for the microorganisms to act. So, spoilage will not take place quickly. It would actually delay it very much. So, the drier the product, the longer it's going to stay, because it's not going to help the growth and survival of the microorganisms.
Okay.
And then the salting to also make sure that a lot of these microorganisms, except those who really can thrive in salt, are eliminated.
Okay.
So these 2 technologies actually ensure that this product is preserved for a long time. And we have done a lot of public education for people to understand the essence of availability of water in food products.
Okay.
So that the drier the thing is, the longer it's going to stay, and the safer the product is going to be. So that could be the nature of Kobe today could be a result of what they have learned from our public education.
I see. Well, we'll still have to wait for the results of your
Yes,
test.
definitely.
But then let me just go on Facebook and read to you what some of the things that people are saying about it. So the question, or what we put there was that Kobe may be poisonous, and that's according to the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation. What we're asking people is whether they are fans of Kobe and what their thoughts are, whether or not they should be banned for further investigations and regulations. So here are some of the comments, what people are saying. Desmond Achu Mensah said, but is that the only one he knows? What about what's that Casnogni feed given to the fingerlings to grow into big tilapia? People always, what's that, to be struck down by the deadly cancer? I don't really understand. Letitia says, not only Kobe should be investigated, there are many foods on our local market that have either been adulterated, contaminated with pathogenic microbes, or contains toxins. I think it's time the government initiates strict rules to govern the food on our local market, and I think this man is right for the job. Letitia, that's your comment. God Stewart Nana just said, if he couldn't do enough investigation about the various imported and locally produced processed food that has been around, have been around for several years and has ended up causing cancer, taking many lives and giving people stroke and diabetes, why did it find it? Okay, so we've got to click on that before we see. Why did he find it necessary to put much effort in downgrading Kobe generally? You have a problem with the generalization of it, but the FDA say they're testing it. Let me just take one more comment and then we'll wrap up this conversation. Desmond again. Okay, Desmond, I've already taken a comment of yours, but let's see what other people are saying. Agropa Anausu said, I particularly like Kobe pa, especially when it's mixed with salmon in okra soup. If it's the naked truth that formalin is used to preserve it, then I'm afraid we're killing ourselves. Okay. So let me just come and wrap up this conversation. Lots of interesting comments there, but we don't have a lot of time. So are you going to ask people to hold on, or sort of put a ban on the sale or the consumption of Kobe for now whilst you test it, so that we can be sure that people are not putting into their system cancerous tissues?
No, not necessarily, because the test will come out quickly. The test results will come out quickly.
So within that week, if there is formalin, then within that week, a lot of people are.
And you know, I told you earlier on that we had done some tests, and the results of those tests indicated that there was no formalin in.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't being used in the fish industry.
Okay.
Okay. And you know, formalin itself has such a very pungent smell. If you've actually passed in front of a hospital that has a mortuary before, in fact, when you're just passing by the mortuary, you can even smell it. But that's notwithstanding, we're still doing the test, because as to whether it is in or not has to be verified by a test.
Okay. And once you find that, what are you going to do? If there is,
we're going to bring those who are in that business to book. We're going to straight away ban the sale of it, just to ensure that people are safe. I mean, that's the number one thing, just to ban the sale of it. And then we get on to bring the people to book and do more public education to stop the people from doing, if and only if it is true.
Okay, right. We'll say a very big thanks to you for coming, head of the food, head of food safety management at the Food and Drugs Authority, speaking to us about Kobe. It's actually generated an interesting debate here in our newsroom. Tells you the number of people who are interested in eating Kobe. I'm not necessarily a fan. I'm not a fan, actually. But I know a lot of people love it, just like she does. Thank you very much, ma'am, for passing through. Okay, you're still here with me, Gifty Andopia. The show is The Pulse. Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying. This is The Pulse. Well, we just told you about that fire tanker yard outbreak, fire outbreak at the tanker yard in Ashaiman at the timber market yesterday. Like we said, some experts are warning that there could be similar disasters in Tema if some things are not done. Well, they're here in the studio. They help me and you, of course, understand exactly what their fears are based on. I've got in the studio with me John Kwamina Monfil. He is a member of the Ghana Institute of Safety Environment Professionals. Is that correct? Right. Thank you very much for coming. Also here in the studio is Nana Ano Ame here. He's president of the Ghana Institute of Safety Environment Professionals. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. So really, what's the basis of the concern that you've raised about the likelihood that there could be many more similar outbreaks, if you like, disasters in this area?
Well, in the very distant past, we've seen a few of these gas explosions, fires involving hydrocarbons and stuff like that. And unfortunately, in the dying days of last year, we saw the passing of Honorable Chairman sister. Very unfortunate. You see, these things are seriously, these major hazardous industries are seriously regulated.
Okay.
And without regulation, we are going to have a lot of these incidents happening all the time. Now, many a time, I've said it, that you see, when you see the near misses in safety, and you don't take cognizance of the near misses,
Right.
then they double up to become a big, bigger problem. Like what you're seeing now, really straight away it tells me what happened in Mexico in 1984. When I saw this, I said, wow, the sky is caught fire. But this is a lesser problem than what happened in Mexico.
Okay.
But what is looming that is frightening, that I drew the attention of Fred, was that we have something that is sitting at Bong, the bus terminal, APD.
Yeah.
Now, in the event that this, what we are seeing here happens there, the whole of Tema is going to be wiped out of the face of this earth. And when you say it, people think that you're a
prophet of doom.
Prophet of doom or doomsayer or what have you. But it's a reality.
Okay.
It's something that if we don't take preventive measures to avoid that, it's going to happen.
So your
and
point
this
is
just
that
the tip of the iceberg.
Okay. Your point is that there are similar places where you've got a lot of these flammable material, and so you think that there isn't enough attention, there isn't enough serious maintenance to prevent such occurrences, and that's why you're raising that flag.
We've littered these hazards all over the place.
All over the place.
And
okay.
just need an ignition, and that's the whole of
and then
Tema
it goes off.
Will be. I'm saying it, that I know the reason why I'm saying it. It will be wiped out of the face of this earth. Tema.
Okay, based on the amount of flammables that we're talking about, let me come to you. You've worked with oil production and etc., so you know the details, and you're a professional as well. This is your area. What are the steps that needs to be taken? Like you're saying, this is what we've identified. Or what are the steps that needs to be taken if we are to prevent any of these from happening within Tema, which of course is an industrial area?
Okay, so DFT, the first step should come from the tanker owners.
Okay.
We have Tanker Owners Association, we have Tanker Unions Association. They must know why we must do health and safety. Okay. We do health and safety basically for 3 reasons. The first reason is to prevent the human tragedy. That's the moral reason. It's just ethical to have health and safety in the country. And the second one is the financial gains. If you practice health and safety, what it means is that you're going to minimize your losses. You're not going to have catastrophic events. You're going to reduce all possible disasters. And that means that whatever money or resources you have, you're going to conserve it. Okay? And, right. And in case you have an incident, you're going to have, you have to spend some money to bring back whatever business you had. You're going to pay more. In the advanced countries where we have more people being fined, people have to pay compensations, people are fined, etc., etc., you realize that whatever you have to invest is more than, after the incident, it's more than if you had invested in health and safety. Okay. Now, the third reason is the legal reason. ILO has got a lot of conventions and recommendations which Ghana can ratify to have a national policy. If we have that one in place, what it means is that it's mandatory for the country, the companies, the country, to have health and safety.
Okay. And
if that happens, of course, it means that we minimize the potential tragedies and the potential losses.
Okay.
Mind you, it's not just about property damage. We're going to have shortage of fuel in the country. It affects us.
Okay.
Okay. So it is very important to have this in place. You look at even the refineries. BP Texas 2005, they had an explosion. 15 people died. BP Texas was fined. They were fined and they had to pay that amount. They had to invest $1 billion to bring back the refinery. Okay. What it means that the cost of the accident is more than what you would have invested. If you look at the cost-benefit analysis or cost-benefit ratio, it is better to invest in health and safety than to just relax. So what it also means is that it's important to have a maintenance system in place of your equipment. And remember that we just need 3 elements for an explosion of fire to occur. You need the fuel, and the fuel is in abundance because that's, you're talking about tankers. You need oxygen. Oxygen is in abundance because that's the open atmosphere. Right. And you need an ignition source. Ignition source could just be a spark. For instance, I saw from a photo that there was a pump at where we had the fire, or where we had the explosion. Now, the pump isn't intrinsically safe. Is it explosion proof? If it's not explosion proof, you cannot use it in an explosive atmosphere. Okay. And that's unsafe to use. If you use electrical equipment, are they explosion proof? If not, these are recipes for fires because they can cause sparks. Now, the batteries that you use on the BRVs or the bulk road vehicles, are they covered with non-conductive materials? If not, you can have a spark. Okay. And a spark and oxygen and fuel in the right proportion will result in fires and explosions. I see.
Are you familiar with this area where the fire outbreak was recorded yesterday at Sherman Timber Market? Yes. Do you envisage that all of the things that you said, the things that you've mentioned, that should have or could have stopped this from happening were available or were not available?
No, they're not available. We don't have much controls in such places. It's not only that place. If you look at GTP runabouts, there are a lot of tankers parked in that area, right to the depot. The depot, there's a Guel depot. You see a lot of BRVs parked there. Now, you don't know what they do there. They could be cooking there, heating their food there. Yeah. You could have sparks from anything. Who controls them? And there are times that they will put on mosquito coil because some of them sleep overnight. That's an ignition source. Yeah. It's exact. So if you have the mosquito coil there because of mosquitoes, or you have matches or naked fire or anything. Once you have oxygen in abundance and you have the fuel, if they come together in the right proportion, you're going to have an explosion. And mind you, it's not only one BRV that's packed there. We have more BRVs there. So what happens is that if you have one BRV exploding, the heat will just heat the other one. And what will happen is that we'll keep heating it. Now the vapor pressure will come up and the liquid level will come lower. Once it comes lower, we'll have direct impingements on the container. When that happens, you're going to have loss of containment. It will just rupture, and that's what we call boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. We'll have chains of explosions, and you can imagine what will happen. Visibility will be poor. People are going to inhale toxic fumes. People are going to be bent. We have property damage to property, damage to the environment as well, and that is costly to the nation. Remember, I said it would affect the economy. I see. Thank you, Gifty. Okay. Well, now let me end this conversation with you. This is an alarm you're raising, and I believe that authorities are listening and now they will do what they're supposed to do. Where should be the starting point? Yeah, the starting point is that NPA, or whoever the regulators are, should be resourced to do their job because enforcement is key. I mean, where I'm talking about BOSS, that I've always been talking about, there's this APD where there's a tank farm which houses about 4 million highly flammable products, and that, per the regulation, there shouldn't be a community bordering the facility. But if you go to BOST now, where I'm talking about, now there is a community which is only sitting 2 meters away from the facility. That's another dangerous thing. You can well imagine. That's where my concern is. Where in the event you get an ignition source, and it lights up that 4 million gallons of or liters of fuel at this facility that I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying is going to wipe out the whole of Tema because of the domino effect, where from one, because when you have fires in this place, they explode
they explode. In those explosions, they go up to about 1 kilometer distance. Like then from where it is, it will go and light up Tema Oil Refinery.
So it basically spread.
So it will spread, and within a short space of time, we'll find the whole of Tema and even some parts of Accra coming under fire.
So you're asking the NPA to act. Well, the NPA says they are asking in this particular case, they're asking the Ghana National Fire Service to conduct an investigation so that they can come up with the facts.
We have also volunteered GISEP because we are the watchdogs of the environment, and we have a lot of experts in our midst, and we have volunteered that whenever there are such incidents, they should call on us. And we would like, today we have brought an expert, we have an expert on fire safety, we have experts on all the other areas. So if they invite us, then we bring some of our experts to assist with the investigation. To all intents and purposes, the CPC fire that happened about 4 years ago, where is the report? The fire that happened at Circle, where is the report? But the report, when it's put in the public domain, is for us to learn so that we forestall future recurrence.
Okay, thank you very much, Nana, and I hope that the GISEP will, make itself available personally, perhaps to some of these people,
available.
So they can.
We've said it so many times.
Sometimes they hear you in the media and they will say, well, they're talking to the media. Sometimes they want you to approach them directly. So maybe that will be a point
we'll take it
up. Okay, please, because Mr. Tampoli is looking for information. He's looking for.
Who is Mr. Tampoli?
Tampoli, he is the new head of the NPA, acting CEO of the NPA.
Okay.
So perhaps if you reach him,
we'll reach out to him.
He'll be very happy. Exactly,
Right,
he'll be very happy to take your views on board. Thank you very much. I've been here with John Kwamena Montville. He's with a member of the Ghana Institute of Safety Environmental Professionals, and also here has been Nana Ano Ame here, who is president of that institution, helping us to understand what needs to be done, especially in industrial areas like Tema, so that we can avoid what happened yesterday in future. Well, moving on, Joy News has uncovered questionable payment at the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission. Among these is a transfer of close to 500,000 cedis into the personal account of the Executive Secretary of PURC, Samuel Sapong. In the first of a series of reports and audits of financial records at the Commission, Joy News' Kwete Nate reports that the expenses included payments described as protocol cash for the Asante Hinyotunfo search to. Kwete Nate is on the telephone line with me. You give us a bit more. Okay, well, he's got a package put together that outlines all of the information that he has at this stage. Let's watch that.
The amount in question, 435,087 cedis, was part of 1,225,000 cedis paid by the 5 major utility companies to the PURC for the 2013 tariff review hearings nationwide. This money was supposed to be lodged in the account of the PURC, but documents cited by Joy News indicate that 271,500 cedis was paid into the personal account of the Executive Secretary of PURC, Samuel Sapong. Details of the deposit voucher reveal the money was paid on the 16th February 2013 at the Gulf House branch of ADB. Former head of finance at PURC, Isaac Hassan, who made the payment into the account, said he did this on the instructions of the Executive Secretary.
I'm only an employee and I take instructions. There was a workshop that money needed to be transferred, and the Chief Executive volunteered that the money should be paid into his account. So he gave us the account number and the branch to pay in. And I did just that as a lawyer worker.
Under what circumstances did the Chief Executive ask you to go and pay the money into his account?
The workshop was taking place on a Saturday, and as at Friday by about 5 p.m. we had not got the money. So we took this money and paid in on a Saturday into that account. The account is not for me. How could I have just walked in and pay money into somebody else's account without instruction? It is not possible. I'm a professional.
A second payment of 163,000 587 cedis was also made into Mr. Sapong's Golf House account on the 7th June 2013. Mr. Hassan tells me, though it's not the norm, his boss thought it was convenient.
Yes, it was money that was withdrew from Ghana Commercial Bank.
And I understand that this was part of monies that was allocated for the public hearings.
That is correct.
So, such a money, how does a chief executive get someone to pay monies meant for a certain program into his personal account? Is that the norm?
No, it was just, I would say, a convenient way of conveying the money on a weekend.
In 2015, 1.7 million cedis was paid by the utility companies to support the major tariff review hearing nationwide. A senior staff at ECG tells Joy News some of the monies were paid in cash to the PURC for the public hearings.
I think only this particular one, the last one we are talking about, is where some were given in the form of cash and some were in the form of checks. Because of the situation at that time, we were informed that time is of the extension already started the program, and so if it's deposited in checking to take on time for them to withdraw before paying those who are working for them to give them. So we did that and some transfer to them quickly in cash for the purposes of that particular contingency situation.
The records cited by Joy News also include other questionable payments. An internal memo dated 5th June 2013, intercepted by Joy News, reveals the PURC approved 164,000 cedis to cover expenses of stakeholder consultation on tariff review with chiefs in Kumasi. Key expenses for that program were over 86,000 cedis for per diem and allowances, 32,000 cedis for hotel accommodation, and 20,000 cedis as protocol for Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. Former head of finance at PURC, Isaac Hassan, says some of these practices breach the Financial Regulation Act.
As far as the Financial Administration Regulation is concerned, it is wrong.
Documents in possession of Joy News indicate some of the monies paid by the utilities to support the tariff review hearings cannot be traced to the Commission's account. Joy News sought to speak to officials at the PURC, but they declined comment. Head of PR and External Affairs at PURC, Nanaya Jantwa, says her God will speak for her. For Joy News, Kwete Nati.
Well, Nana Jantwa has been speaking. Very soon I'll speak with Kwete Nate, who did the story, to know exactly what more we can expect in the next series. But for now, let's hear from Nana Jantwa, who was just referred to in that story that Kwete put together.
They have to communicate to the public effectively what is going on. And we know always we've been struggling with communication with the utilities. Yes, of course, we've all been experiencing some power outages, and it is more on the distribution side and things like that. So we have written to...
Sincere apologies for that wrong inset there. We can go over the telephone line and speak with Kwete Nate. Hello, Kwete.
Hello, Gifty.
Thank you very much for holding. We kept you on for a while. Let's talk about this series. It's quite interesting revelations we're getting from the PURC. So far, the authorities are not willing to speak. Have they made any effort to, respond to our queries after the story aired?
Prior to the airing of the story, I spoke to the head of PR and External Affairs at the PURC, but she declined to comment. I also made an effort to speak to the executive secretary. I didn't get the opportunity to. So that's it. They said they would speak at the right time.
Okay. Okay. This is the first of a couple of series. So what should we expect, or what can people who are watching expect in the next series or in the next batch?
So there are still some questionable payments and how the PURC spends state resources on certain items. So tomorrow we would be looking at how the PURC spends some money in the acquisition of their software.
Okay.
I would not like to give much. I would only say that viewers should stay tuned for our next story.
Okay, so you want to keep your dial right here on Joy News on Multi TV and also on Joy 99.7 FM, where we'll be giving you updates on the situation at the PURC and what we have been able to put together. That was Kwete Nate on the telephone line that he's been doing that story. Let's move on from that and get to the presidency, where President Akufo-Addo says he'll rely on the Council of State to consider whether it is appropriate for his government to create new regions. The NPP promised to create a number of new regions when elected into power. But speaking at the inauguration of the new Council of State at the State House today, President Akufo-Addo said the constitutional body will be relied upon in taking such decisions.